Good evening, everybody. We are joining you here on this special edition on a Tuesday evening to go through our March Madness brackets and probably do a show one here. Harish tried to do one and he told me that one didn't quite work out with the saving and all. I did one, but I don't know how to post it. So we're going to just do one for the show and to get that out there. And also, since our last show, like right after the show, there was, a lot of breaking NFL news with free agency, comebacks, and all that. So we've got a few things to touch on here this evening, and we're gonna get right into that. And to start us off, I think we should start off with the goat coming back. I mean, that happened after the
Yeah,
show, so we can start off with
that
that.
was, you know, it makes me think, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Go ahead.
it could have been, in all honesty, it could have been one of those like marketing schemes just to see what it would have been. It's almost like he knew he was coming back, but he was like, I'm just going to see what people will think if I just go away, in the sunset and not
See,
come back.
I actually know what this is all about. And there's been speculation kind of under the radar as to what's going on, but this is something that jumped out at me kind of during last year, but really during this past season, not like 2 years ago when he first got to Tampa, but really during this past season with him and Arians not really getting along. I don't think he likes Bruce Arians, and I don't think Bruce Arians likes the fact that Tom gets all the credit for their success. I don't think he likes playing for him. I think his retirement was a ploy to try to get out of Tampa. That's my opinion on it.
But at the end of the day, right? Like, it's the quarterback. Like, you call the plays, you're the head coach, but the quarterback gets all the glory. And you should just, I'll tell Arians this, he should just, if that's the case, Arians should just be quiet because he got him a ring. Okay? I mean,
Bruce Arians, he doesn't come across to me as a humble guy at all. He seems like the kind who really does want that credit. I don't want to badmouth him too much because he's a Hokie. Eddie says he's a nice guy. Eddie was down there at a Virginia Tech game this past season, and they met up and hung out in the booth. And Eddie said nothing but great things about him.
mm,
So I'm not gonna badmouth him. I don't know him. I've never met him, but I know I can tell them that they don't get along. I can
mm,
tell Tom didn't want to be there anymore. And what sucks about it is Tom Brady gave them an extra year so they would have cap relief. So that locked him in on there in Tampa for 3 years. If it were up to him, he'd be playing somewhere else this coming season. And I
mm.
think he came back to go ahead and toll that year. So he gets credit for that third year, and he's not going to retire. He's going to go somewhere else next season.
I
Mark
also
my
feel
words. Mark my words on
true,
that.
but I also feel that there wasn't like a sunset. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, almost like
No,
he didn't get a
definitely not.
farewell tour.
Definitely not. There was no swan song or anything like that. Because like I said, I don't think he was sure. I think he wanted to get out of that contract, and Arian said they'll be back for business to let him go. So,
Hmm.
but if they weren't going to do it, his only choice is to play.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that's one of those things. It's just it's really hard to debate on. Like, he is the goat, so if he came
No
back,
question. Can't debate on that one. No question about that.
to me, I think that it elevates Tampa Bay now from a
Oh,
non-contender to a contender.
oh yeah.
So, so people who have all these skepticisms about Bruce Arians or whatever they may be, just hush. And because you can also win another Super Bowl if they get the right pieces now. So I don't know why they want to cause this hoopla or any kind of underneath talk,
Well, like I said,
but
this is not something that's out there. Nobody, you won't hear any sports shows talking about this. This is me, my own observation, my own opinion. This is my own hot take. You won't hear anybody else talking about this. This is not something that's widely known. This is me putting two and two together.
well, I'll tell you this, Dale. If that comes true, because I'm just waiting for everything kind of to end next season, because it's going to be like a huge like party or whatever.
Yeah.
If it ends and something comes out, because there's something going to get leaked. Something's going to
Well,
get.
here's how you'll know I'm right at the end of the day.
Hmm.
If he does not retire and does play somewhere else next season, that means I was 100% right. So by this time next year, we'll know whether or not my prediction is correct. And I will bet on me on this one.
Yeah,
I see what I see.
and I also feel that there is some tension because why would he go out the way he went out, right? You got to kind of think if you like the coach, you would kind of come back and you won't kind of linger on in your kind of in what you want to do. Like if you looked at Ben Roethlisberger, we all knew he was past his prime. He knew it.
Yeah, he had no choice.
He had no choice, right?
He should have retired maybe 2 years ago.
Oh, well, I mean, and I think a lot of people are saying, yeah, he's retired. That his retiring should have been done. But I mean, not to carry on with this segment because we all know that when
No,
he comes back,
I'm all about talking about Brady. He deserves all
time.
the stuff
Okay.
we talk about. We talk about the Wizards a lot. They don't
Mhm.
deserve it. The GOAT
Yeah.
deserves all the time we're willing to give him. I'm so glad he came back.
Mhm.
And like you said, this elevates Tampa, in my opinion, to the favorite in the NFC. Great people want to put Green Bay there just because Aaron Rodgers came back, but I'm not putting him there because he was there last season. And what did they do? They lost to Garoppolo. So I'm not putting them as any kind of favorites, and they're only going to get worse with this contract. So,
And the thing is, like, I'm coming to the realization from what you and Eddie, not Eddie, I'm sorry, you and Chris were speaking about how Aaron Rodgers is not that kind of typical quarterback, and I'm kind of seeing that now. Is just that he doesn't have. He's just a glorified game manager that just
see, you might want to be careful with that because that's a scorching hot take, and that's something that me and Chris have kind of like we've taken that and run with it, but we are in the minority on that. Most people don't feel, and it's because he's won. How many MVPs has he won? At least back to back.
right.
He's won back-to-back MVPs. So to call an MVP a game manager, that's scorching. So you might want to be careful.
See, but the thing is, the stats speak for itself, right? Like if he hasn't had another Super Bowl in how long? I mean, at the end of the day, like you have
Colin
to call
Kaepernick played in a Super Bowl more recently than Aaron Rodgers.
right, and they beat them to get to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
See, so I changed my opinion on that because of you have to look at now. Like, yes, you won 2 MVPs. You won that. Eli Manning, I think, has won 2 MVPs, right?
I don't believe Eli Manning won an MVP. And that's
or was it his?
That when we were talking about him and his Hall of Fame case, I think I brought that up at the time, how he doesn't have that kind of that regular season resume. And that's I think that's a knock people use against him. And Matt Stafford, I don't think is one. I mean, that's a knock against him too. And
But Eli has 2 Super Bowls and he beat the Patriots twice.
Yeah.
So if you can't,
if Aaron Rodgers does, that's Hall of Fame. You beat the GOAT twice.
Yes.
That's Hall of Fame. So if you don't like that, whoever doesn't like that, you can, yeah.
And that's why I say, like, that's why my opinion of Aaron Rodgers is slowly changing. Is it's like this. He's a 10 times better Kirk Cousins that's on a better team.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, at the end of the day, look at what he has done in the last 5 years. The Green Bay Packers should have been in at least 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years with the talent that they have. At least 2.
See, I don't remember enough about their Super Bowl team to know that whether or not he was the one that carried them. I'll have to look at that and revisit that on the later show. I don't remember if they just had a really good defense or a really strong running game or what propelled them over the top and why they haven't been able to get back since. He's been the constant, and they haven't been able to snip it since.
And I also believe it's not just him. I think when they won that Super Bowl, it was like a team effort.
And see, that's what I don't remember. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, because the thing is, when I have nothing to do, I just watch all Super Bowls just to get my mind kind of says, like, why do people dog him like in the minority? Why do they have that opinion of him? Right?
They beat.
I think they beat the Rams, right?
No, it would have had to have been Indy or Pittsburgh.
Indy? Was it? I don't remember. Jeez.
I can't remember either. I might be making that up too. I'll look it up. And like I said, we'll revisit on another show so we can keep arguing about his greatness or lack thereof. And, back to Tom Brady. Enough about him.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't deserve it yet.
But I'll say this. I'm glad Brady is back, even though I kind of changed my opinion on Brady after the Atlanta Super Bowl because they were down 20-0. I mean, and yes, Shanahan was the
28-3
coordinator.
Was the ultimate lead 28-3?
I think so. I think it was,
and that's when they started their comeback.
And the crazy thing is, he led that team back offensively, and he led the entire team back just to pick up and it's proved his fortitude. And now people want to beat Brady because it's almost like a cap in their feather. Because he's still one of the greatest players to ever play at his age and with that team. So when you go up against a Brady team, you know you're going to have into a fight.
And
So
see, Eli has two feathers in his cap because he beat him
yes,
twice. And I really, honestly, truly, 99% of me believes that he would have retired if they lost that game. And so that goes to show, I know he didn't want to, and I know his teammates didn't want him to. So they put everything into that comeback, and it paid off, and he went on and got two more after that. I believe it's two more right after that comeback.
Yeah.
Because they lost to the Eagles. Then they came back and won.
They won that one against the gosh, why am I coming up the blank?
Rams?
Because they lost. Yes, it had to have been the Rams because the Rams
and
did
then he
go
got his
with-
one in Tampa. So
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's almost like the Bill Russell of Super Bowls. I mean,
he might end up with as many championships. He's not done. I'm telling you, he's going to be somewhere else next season, and he's going to keep it going.
So let me ask you this then:
Go
if
for
you
it.
feel, if your gut is telling you that he's moving on, if he's moving on from the Tampa Bay
From Tampa,
Buccaneers,
yeah.
which team will he go to?
If he had his number one choice, it would be San Fran because that's home. But with them having Trey Lance in place, see if he could have gotten out of it this season, I think both teams would have been willing to make that deal. No, Tampa knowing, well, he would have been a free agent, so they wouldn't have had to give up anything. They could have kept Trey Lance in place and then signed Tom Brady. So he would be there if he weren't under contract. And I think if somehow Trey Lance doesn't pan out and he has the choice to go there, that's where he'll go. It's San Fran.
That's not bad. Now, talking about quarterbacks, I don't know what the Giants are doing. I really don't know what they are doing. I mean, they got Tyrod Taylor as a super backup.
I didn't know that. That's breaking news to me.
It is. So I found out. So when I got an ESPN notification that Tyrod Taylor signed, I think I forgot what, I think it was like $15 million or some astronomical amount for being a backup to Daniel Jones.
Wow.
But he's going to take over that starting spot, in my opinion.
I would love to see that because, again, he's a Hokie, and him and my brother played together. Seems like a good dude. I met him and his dad. Seemed like good people. So I root for him for that. I hate what happened to him in San Diego, I think was at the time, or maybe where they. I don't know if they had moved yet. Whatever the case, I hate what happened to him there. I want to see him get a real starting shot, and he could definitely beat out somebody like Daniel Jones. The problem with that is the owner is 100% on Daniel Jones's side. They want to put everything in place to make that pick look right. It's not going to happen though. I don't see it for him. Not in that situation. Maybe he can go and have a Mr. Trubisky year where he sits and then grow from there. I think Mitch is going to be good in Pittsburgh, by the way.
Oh, that's
but
a godsend.
Daniel Jones can be taken for this job.
Yeah. And the thing is, Tyrod, I always liked Tyrod. He was injury prone early on in his career, so he couldn't really.
Well, he was a backup too with Baltimore, so
he was. But I think the thing is, he hasn't had a full 16 game season.
No.
So people can see what he can do.
I would love to see what he can do.
Yeah, he's still young too, isn't he? He's like late 20s, right?
He would have to be. So if he was a freshman at his senior year, that means they're about 3 years apart. He'd have to be around 32, 33.
Oh, dang. Yeah. I
thought 32-ish.
32-ish. Yeah. But I'll tell you this though. If the Giants are smart, they will have a quarterback battle in the preseason to make sure that Tyrod wins out. Because Daniel Jones ain't going to win them anything. They're not going to win with Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. If you're a quarterback and you can't make 3 yards and you're almost scoring, you trip on your own 2 feet and you have like daylight, I'm sorry that you can't do that. I don't care.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones's mechanics is horrible. I don't like the way he throws. I don't like the way he reads protections and everything. So if they're smart, they'll do that. If not, next year's draft is there. They can do whatever they want. And in all honesty, I really don't care for them because they're going to be the bottom dwellers.
They will be in the top 3 drafting a quarterback next season. Even if Tyrod wins the job, the rest of their roster is, they were trying to move Saquon. I don't think that's going to happen. But their receivers, I think they have Galladay. I think Sterling Shepard will be back. Outside of that,
at the end of the day, if you want to move Saquon Barkley, where do you want to move him to? Who's going to who's going to take up on that cap hit? Like, I mean, he's owed a lot of money. I mean, if I remember, because they signed him to an insane amount of deal. I just don't remember how. I think it was like 100 million or something.
Probably, and running backs, no matter who they are, they're
Right.
not garnering a hot market. If I were,
Mm-mm.
as a matter of fact, if I were Dallas, I would be looking to move on from Ezekiel Elliott. He's even eating up
Really?
too much of their cap, and they're
Mm.
not getting the return on the investment on that. I don't
Mm.
he, to pay him as much as they do.
Hmm.
He would have to be the guy carrying the team, and he hasn't
Yeah.
been that in like 4 years. So they're not going to do it, but I would.
Yeah, I think that's a safe thing to say, but I also blame Mike McCarthy too. I don't think Mike McCarthy's play calling or his scheme is a heavy run set
Oh,
scheme.
that's on Kellen Moore.
Yeah, well, Kellen Moore too. I mean, see, maybe we're just too old school, man, or maybe that's the way I think, and you think is if you have a stud running back, you got to run the ball regardless of what the pass is. I mean,
That's
it's
true,
just
but he's been dinged up. Like he all last season he had a knee injury that he was playing through, and that's
which
why
is
Pollard looked more explosive when he
right.
got his touches.
Yeah.
So with him always being banged up, and the fact that he is probably past the point where he can carry a team.
Mm. It's just sad though because I honestly thought he'll be him and Saquon will be one of those perennial like 1-2 kind of going at it back and forth. It's
Yeah,
just
I don't know that those guys exist anymore. Even Christian McCaffrey can't stay healthy. I don't know.
nope.
Derrick Henry might be the guy, but even he got hurt last year.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, I think his body. I think I think he's like a superhero. Like
and he
he
healed.
has some.
He healed so fast.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of like stem cells he uses, but
Like, give me some.
yeah,
Well,
for like
we can get into the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. We've got
oh
a lot of heat around that one too, with him,
yeah.
the grand jury finding no evidence to
Hmm.
proceed on that one. So that market's been heating up. We've got even the Falcons are throwing their hat in the ring. Cleveland, Pittsburgh was out there before they signed Trubisky.
Yep.
There was a rumor today that San Fran might be interested. So lots of teams are in the mix on this one. Prediction: where do you think he's going to end up?
In all honesty, because Carolina threw their hat too.
Yeah, well,
So
they're supposedly the favorite. I don't buy it,
if
but
yeah, if I was Deshaun, and if Cleveland is really considering moving on from Baker, he should go to Cleveland because he has the defense over there. His line is stacked. He has the weapons. Even though you lost Jarvis Landry, you do have Amari Cooper. The only thing they lost was their tight end. I think their tight end went somewhere too. I forgot his name, but
Njoku's still there, I believe.
oh, and Joki's still there.
I could be lying. I could be.
Uh,
Don't hold me to it. I could be lying,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure he's still there.
I think because I think they are saying that Njoku. I think he went to the Jets or somebody went for the Jets. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean,
I'll have
don't
to look
quote
it up.
us on it, but I'm pretty. But they're already a stacked team. They're just a quarterback away from because their defense was I think top 8 last year. They were pretty solid, and they just need a quarterback. That's all they need.
Yeah, I've been saying they were a quarterback away for like 4 years now.
Yeah.
Baker's not the guy, and I'm not surprised that they're all in on Watson. On
Hmm.
paper, they are a quarterback away. The problem is they're Cleveland. So even if he went there, and again, I'm not a Watson guy. Everybody
Hmm.
buys into him as a franchise quarterback. So
Mm.
I will give him, I'll give it to him. I'll go with what everybody else is saying until I'm proven right, which I think I will be, especially with them sitting out a year. But if he goes there, I still don't expect them to win because they're the Browns. To me, that's all they'll always be. So
The thing is, I honestly think Cleveland is my number one choice if they're smart. But knowing them as the Browns, they're not going to pull the trigger on that. They probably give Baker another year. But I would say if Tennessee can get Deshaun Watson, Tennessee.
I like Tannehill. So I know you do not. I know you.
You know me and my opinions on him. He lost that game for them, and besides the coaching, he was one of the main reasons why they could have won that game.
And see, I think Tannehill is twice the quarterback Deshaun Watson is. Even before he sat out a year, I'll take Tannehill 10 times out of 10 over Deshaun Watson. I can see him. I can see Atlanta being his move. I'm surprised Miami's not getting back in on this. I'm surprised we're not hearing more heat about Seattle. The Saints are in the mix. That could be. If I had to pick two favorites, it would be the Falcons and the Saints as his destinations.
I would say I would agree with you. The thing is, there's always a sleeper team that no one would even think of, and I don't think
the
out of
Falcons were
those
that.
teams,
I think
the
the
only
Falcons were that
sleeper I can.
sleeper.
Yeah, I think the Falcons because if Matt Ryan wants to move on, if they want to
He
trade Matt
doesn't,
Ryan or let him
but
go,
they want to move on.
right?
He doesn't want to move
I
on.
mean, I think
I
there
think he
needs
would,
to,
if they let him, he
yeah.
would retire there. But
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just so sad that like out of all the quarterbacks, I think he should win a ring too. Like Matt Ryan should win a ring. I mean, as what he has done for that city and for the entire organization, like they could have won it, but they just floundered it away, unfortunately. But but it's just I would say this: I thought the Giants would have made that move to get Deshaun Watson. I really thought it would have fit his skill set,
he
but
must
they
have
don't
said he
have.
didn't want to go there,
Yeah,
and that's why
yeah,
they moved
because
on.
there's nobody there. Exactly, but there's nobody there, so it's
No,
almost like it's a waste of talent or a waste of something. So I would say, I'm going to say New Orleans. New Orleans is going to pull that trigger soon because who was the backup to Watson there before? Not Watson, but to was it Simeon or something?
they had Jameis when he got hurt. It was Trevor Simeon and
Yeah,
Taysom Hill,
right, Trevor Simeon, Taysom Hill,
not a quarterback.
gimmicky quarterback. You just
Not a
got I don't
quarterback.
know. Say again.
He's not a
Yeah,
quarterback.
not a quarterback. Like he's just yeah, he's more of like a Tim Tebow type of person, like Tim Tebow like skill set, I would say. So if New Orleans is smart, they'll get him because they have a pretty stacked team. I mean, yes,
They
there are
have Michael
some
Thomas
issues
coming
with
back, which is
them, but
huge.
I mean, yeah, and he needs a quarterback. And I'm surprised that Jameis Winston has not even gotten steam. He's still a good quarterback. I don't understand why people don't want to get him.
I think he'll end up somewhere in a starting role. It's just people are trying to wait and see how this Deshaun Watson thing plays out. Once that's settled, then you'll see more movement on the other quarterbacks that are lingering out there. Jameis Winston probably being first to go,
Yeah, because I
and
would
then
think
Garoppolo.
Miami. I think Miami should just get Jameis Winston. If they had Jameis Winston, I think that would probably be a
Miami is
best
all
bet.
in on Tua from everything they're saying.
Two really Tua?
All in.
Wow. Wow. Okay, because there was talks last year like they might get rid of him or
The
trade
team
him, but
the team with the most pressing need outside of the ones vying for Watson is Indy, and Indy is not going to get Watson because Houston's not going to trade him in the division. Which
right.
I never understand things like that. If you're so afraid of somebody being good that you won't trade him to a team in your division, why are you getting rid of him? Like if you
Mm,
think he's that good, keep him.
right.
If I'm getting rid of somebody, I don't care where you go because I'm not afraid of you. I don't want you, so I don't care where you go.
I,
But
I,
whatever.
I, I I honestly think people do it for strategic purposes. It's almost like, why should I give up here? But at the end of the day, you should have confidence enough in your skill set to beat them. You know their
Exactly.
weaknesses.
And I wouldn't be afraid of Deshaun Watson, frankly. But whatever.
But we have to get to the in my opinion, the craziest move of the day
What's that?
is the defensive lineman from Dallas,
Randy Gregory.
Randy Gregory. Oh my God. He pulled the okey doke.
Well,
I mean,
I think Dallas pulled the okey doke.
really?
So they offered him a similar deal to what Denver's was, but there was
Mm,
language in there like a poison pill that his agent
mm,
or a lawyer found. And when they found that, that's when he changed his mind. That's when he was like, all right, y'all trying to play these games? I'm out. And Denver swooped right in.
mm.
Denver was waiting for that nonsense. They
Man,
got
like,
themselves a good player. Off the field issues, but he's a good player.
yeah, I mean, I was Richmond. They did their due diligence, like any team does. And they're like, it is what it is. I mean, in Denver, I don't think he can get into any trouble. I'll put it that way.
There's plenty of trouble to be had here, especially with marijuana being legal, and he already has those issues. It's
Uh,
legal here, but it's not legal in the NFL. Um, so I would have rather they
mm,
pursued Von Miller, but what I heard about that is they were afraid his price would be too high, and Randy Gregory's was right in the sweet spot of where they were looking to pay.
right.
I would have
I
brought
mean,
Von Miller back home. To me, he won 2 Super Bowls. He's an impact player. Randy
right.
Gregory hasn't done anything in this league yet. Or I would have
Uh,
been in on Chandler Jones if not Von
ooh,
Miller. But
yeah.
they did what they did, and I think their defense. I don't think they have any. Even without Gregory, I don't think they have anything to worry about. He
Nope.
just makes them even that much better. So
They have become the scariest team in the AFC now.
no question.
One of the scary, and people may poo-poo us for saying it, but with that addition alone, they have elevated their defensive line tenfolds. Tenfolds.
Yeah,
I mean, his talent, he's like a gazelle. For his size and speed and strength, he runs like a gazelle. And the way the scheme is run in Denver, All he's going to be doing is rushing the quarterback. That's all he's going to be doing. And also in containment, I'm not going to say that, but they got a steal. Number one, they also with Russell Wilson, with everybody going to Denver as the two place now. Don't be surprised later on we hear some crazy signing that we never even thought of. I mean,
Yeah, I
yes,
don't think
it's
they're done. They brought back a
no.
guy, a linebacker who was already here. They re-signed him. The move I want to see them make at linebacker is bringing back Alexander Johnson. But I saw
Mm,
somebody else put out that the Commanders need to make that move too. Either one
yeah.
of my teams need to bring this dude in. He was here last year. He missed like 8 games with an injury, but he's so intense. He's so good. I want them to bring him here, or I want Washington to
Yep.
get him. But they've got one more linebacker position to fill. Outside of that, though,
Hmm.
I mean, you saying that they're the favorites in the AFC, that should, some people might see that as a hot take. It shouldn't be. This team is loaded.
But the thing is, how can it be a hot take? You have to look
Shouldn't
at
be.
what they have, right? Like it shouldn't be because it just doesn't make any sense. Like common sense will tell you you have one of the greatest quarterbacks to play in Russell Wilson. You have an offensive line that can protect him, and you have receivers that are astronomically better than where he came from. Besides,
Well,
I mean,
Seattle's receivers were good. Decaf Metcalf
yeah,
and Lockett. That's two
I'm
good
not a
receivers.
yeah, I'm not a big Lockett fan. I like DK a lot more than Lockett,
Lockett,
but
he's a top tier receiver,
you
in my
think?
opinion. Yeah.
Hmm.
I put Lockett in my top 7.
Top seven? Okay.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
he's so good. He doesn't get the attention because he's out there on the left coast.
Makes
Not
sense.
a lot of nationally televised games, but he's a great route runner, great hands, speed. Just he's a
Mm.
very good player.
He is.
He's on the block too. So if he ends up somewhere else next season, you'll see what I
Mm,
mean.
yeah, because if he gets over to the East Coast, we can probably see a little bit more of the games and see what he. I mean, from my perspective, I would say, but like I remember they always say offense wins games and defense wins championships. The Denver defense is built to win a championship now.
Oh yeah,
They have constructed a championship winning defense, and it pains me to say it, but it's the truth. Until someone can tell me that they don't have a championship defense, then we're going to stick to our guns.
yeah. And their new defensive coordinator, wisely said he's not going to come in and change up Fangio's scheme because it was working,
Hmm.
and he's going to stick with what was working. And their defense,
Right.
they've got Magaolo on the defense too. So they're
Hmm.
stacked with talent. They're stacked in the coaching. I mean,
Yeah.
watch out, world.
Yeah. And don't be surprised if they win like 12 to 13 games next year. 12 to 13 games, and they'll be and don't be surprised if they run away with the AFC. They're West, right? AFC
Yeah,
West.
yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
Don't be
tough to run
surprised.
away with that division with Kansas City and the Chargers and even
Mm,
the Raiders in it. But I wouldn't be
so
surprised.
mm, yeah, the thing is, as I said on the last show, I don't think Kansas City's on the downturn a little bit because their offensive line, if they go against that Denver defense, they're not going to hold. They're just not going to hold. I mean, because
Yeah, and
you can't sign anybody.
you haven't heard about them bringing in any free agents either, and they're about to lose Tyrann
No.
Mathieu, who's one of the best defensive players in the
Yeah.
NFL. He'll probably end up with the Raiders, so that's a big loss.
I, it's a huge loss. And they're talking about Tyreek Hill because after what was that homeboy that signed with Jacksonville?
Hey, Christian Kirk, like you were saying before the show, he reset the wide receiver market.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill is going to get paid. Terry McLaurin
Yes.
is going to get paid.
Yes.
Devontae Adams, because of Kirk's contract, is going to get paid. Like
He actually says he actually said I'm not going to be franchised. Like he turned that down.
Yeah.
Like he may even sit out next year if he doesn't play, right? If you don't get if you refuse a franchise tag, can you still play or
No.
or do you sit out?
No, I could see him holding out. I don't know if they'll let it get to that point, but with Rodgers' contract, they're
Mhm.
not gonna they're gonna have a very thin team around if they bring him back. Those two guys, it's gonna be a very thin team. That's why I don't see how anybody can see them as
Mhm.
the favorites.
Nope.
I don't see
And
it.
as we have said, the game management thing is going to come into play. He's going to he won't lose you a game, but he won't win it to you either.
Not at this point.
Because he doesn't
No,
have a team.
no.
No. But to backtrack to when you said the Washington Commanders trying to go after the linebacking guy that you spoke of, that's what they need on this. That would be awesome. But it's the money. That's why I was really angry.
He won't
I
be
tweeted this
expensive.
out. He won't be expensive, but what upsets me the most is we got Carson Wentz, and as you said on the previous show, we need to get as much talent around Carson so that he doesn't have to do it all. J.D. McKissic was that talent. You should have never let him go into free agency. Never. That's just asinine, and that's just a stupid. I don't know why Martin Mayhew and them just let him walk.
Now,
I mean, you should
that move,
never.
it makes sense to let him go if they're going to use Curtis Samuel as a Debo type, and they're going to use Gibson more like a Christian McCaffrey type, as they always should have. Then the move makes sense because
But it's a risk.
It's a risk, but Gibson was always supposed to play that role, and he never has. So if they let him do that,
right. I mean, it's a risk because as you said.
But
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. Sorry.
I was saying
Finish your thought.
If they let Patterson be the guy who's pounding the rock, and then Gibson is kind of more of a not bell cow, like a third down type, not in a third down role, but taking less of the pounding and catching the ball more. That's what they should be doing. And even giving Curtis Samuel some carries. That's what they should be doing. And if you do those things, then McKissic, his loss doesn't hurt.
Previous two shows that I like Curtis Samuel, but he's a risk. So it kind of makes you kind of put everything in perspective now.
You're willing to rely on him. I'm not. So
well, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. It goes back now to what you said is because now, because I always thought if they sign McKissic, then that whatever I think lessens the blow. You don't have McKissic now. Now you're putting somebody who's injury prone into a role that's going to hurt his groin even more. And if he's healthy, by all means, and that's probably why they let him go. But Buffalo's making some swings, man. I mean, Tim Settle, oh man, that was a huge loss. I really liked Tim Settle. I probably would have, I would have had him start actually over maybe Deron Payne. That's just me personally because he was getting more productivity. But I mean, you got to go what the money is, man. And that's what Sheriff did. Who I think that was a boneheaded move by him. Boneheaded move. You don't go to a team for money if the team ain't gonna go anywhere. He's stuck there now. I mean, Jacksonville ain't gonna go anywhere. Where are they gonna go? Oh, Doug Peterson may be the knight in shining armor coach, but they ain't gonna go anywhere with that. Where's the talent? There ain't no talent.
The thing I'll give Jacksonville credit for is the fact that they are trying to make some moves. They're trying. And they made a move at head coach with Doug Peterson, a guy who's got pedigree. So with them making moves, bringing in other pieces, bringing in Sheriff too, that shows me a commitment to actually trying to turn things around. They let Miles Jack go, so that's going to hurt them on defense. But they've made some other moves there too, and they're not done. They've got a whole draft to go through, so they should be better next season. True. I don't know if they'll be a playoff team, but they're building. And
that's true.
That's
but
I just thought, like, the Commanders. What are the Commanders building?
That's true. No, I 100% agree. The thing is, what's frustrating is if I was Brandon Sheriff and I've been on a team that hasn't experienced playoff success, right? Only one playoff success and gosh knows how many long when RG3 was here, you would want to go to a perennial playoff contending team that really needs your help. That's why we both thought he would have gone to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati probably would have paid. And what's really frustrating is there's some talks that that Mayhew said that they offered him the highest dollar value for that position, and he turned it down. So which tells me is he didn't want to be here. He did not want to be here at all.
It's hard to blame him.
I mean, at that point, you can't. I mean, if we were in his shoes, like what would we do? We're not winning. We're not doing. Only way you stay is like you like the atmosphere, you like the people around you. I think he just got fed up with it, and he's like, you know what? I'm done, and I'm going to go to a different scenery. But I've gone to Jacksonville. I mean, he got paid. So at the end of the day, money does talk. And it's just sad to see players that you draft walk. Because and I think that's the new trend in the NFL is if you're not building a winning team, the players that you're drafting who are like Pro Bowl talent, all pro, will kind of be like, why am I putting my body on the line if we don't see a goal or a destiny,
Yeah, I don't blame anybody for not wanting to be in Washington. It's hard after the history they've had since 1991, 92. With Cincinnati, they may not have had the money to pay him. They may not have made an offer. I actually didn't hear anything about that. There was a lot of speculation before free agency opened about him going there, but no word to that effect once free agency opened. So I don't know what happened with that. They probably made the moves they wanted to make on the O-line and moved
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. And I think at the 11th place, I agree with you. They need to draft another receiver now because with the loss of J.D. McKissick, I mean, yeah, I like De'Ami Brown and Curtis Samuels. I'm always for people to come back, but you need another star receiver. You gotta have that now. You can't rely upon those two anymore. Even though you can shift Gibson to that role, yes, that works out, but then you're taking away his snaps and carries that he used to have. And then you have to find a way to fit him in, so which is going to be kind of difficult in my opinion. But you need to draft a receiver at number 11. And then, like, because your defense, okay, you can get somebody in free agency, as you stated, but they need to go receiver. I think they're going to go receiver or the best receiver in the thing in the draft. So hopefully that happens. If not, it's going to be a long season, even with Carson Wentz. I think they'll win 10 games and make the playoffs, but it's going to be like those final drives, and it won't be like it will be close games. It'll be very close games.
Yes, indeed. Let's go ahead and shift gears here. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Bones Highland, VCU grad, for his big game last night against the Sixers. He went nuclear. He was hitting threes, deep threes all over them, and Denver went out to Philly and pulled that game out. They were down as many as 20 points at one point in the game. And Embiid, he did a great job defensively on Jokic, but Jokic ended up they got the win, so that's all that matters. That could be a preview of the finals, but I don't think Philly can get there with Harden. So that's a quick shout out to them. The Wizards are playing like butt. I think they're good. They've embraced the tank at this point. That's all I've got to say about them. You want to get in quick word on them if you want?
Yeah, I didn't believe in tanking, but when I saw the last couple of games, they're tanking. They're not. They're not. You can see they're not in the game.
Maybe even not intentionally, but they are.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what? It's there. They're playing the Nuggets tomorrow. I texted it in our little text conversations between us. I was like, the Joker is going to have like a triple double. He's going to have 40 points, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds, and that's possible.
Yeah, it's
going to be really bad. But as we stated, this is a game that they could actually win. They might actually win this game if it happens, but
put your 401k on the
0 cents, 0 cents.
If you're a betting
it's
man,
just
bet
sad,
your 401k
man. Like,
on the Nuggets. Take out a cash out, HELOC, refi, take it all out, and put it all on the Nuggets tomorrow night, because that's not going to happen.
See that, but I would have to, if we have to look, okay, like, yes, the Wizards are not doing so well, but if you're going to look for the future, this is what I'm going to do. I might have to trade KCP or just go. I think we can get someone else in return. I liked him, but
yeah,
I don't think they play as a cohesive unit because everybody wants. This is what I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Because what I've seen is everybody passes to Kristoff. Everybody does. Porzingis, everybody passes to him. It's just not KCP. Kuzma passes to him in the post.
Like, I was mad about that before, but now that I see that they've gone tank mode, and Tommy Shepard or him and Wes actually came out and said that Kristaps is not going to sit in back-to-backs anymore. They expect him to play every game for the rest of the season. So what I'm saying about them tanking, like I said, they may not be intentionally doing it since Kristaps is going to play, but they're in tank mode anyway just because they're not good. So I didn't want to get all into them because they don't deserve it. Like I said earlier in the show, it's not worth talking about. They freaking.
It's not worth our time.
If they go on a string here,
let's move on to.
One more thing. One more shout out I wanted to give to Nelson Cruz and the Nationals. That's a big deal, bigger deal than people realize. He was with the Orioles, and the Orioles let him go. I was hoping the Nats could look into getting him at that point. But with him only being a DH, it wasn't possible. Now that there's DH in the National League, they've got him. 1 year, $15 million. Soto likes him. The Nationals made a promise to him that they're committed to winning this season. So that is great news on both fronts, getting him and that they're looking to win this year. They also bring Doolittle back into the fold. So those are two key moves. I like it. So we can switch gears completely.
Nelly Cruz. I just want to say one thing on Nelly Cruz because because I'm a huge Orioles fan. Dale knows that. Everybody knows. I mean, I'm a diehard Baltimore fan. When he was with the Orioles, like, it changed. It will change your lineup. It will change the way you pitch to him.
He's a masher.
And now, 100%. And now, if you look at their lineup, right, you can have Soto and then have Nelly come right after Soto.
That's the plan. Lefty, righty.
Yeah, can you like that? Like, psychologically alone will mess with the psyche of the pitcher. Like you're like, man, I gotta face Soto now. I gotta face Nelly, or vice versa.
And then you got Bell
Like
in the
the
lineup.
batting
If he can
lineup
stay
for
healthy, if Bell can stay
Mhm.
healthy, that's another big bat in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're finally. I think the Nationals are actually finally spending the money they need to spend to get players. They're
I won't
finally opening
believe
up the
that
checkbook.
until they sign Soto. When they get that
That,
done, then I'll
mm,
be a believer again. But
that's true.
we'll
But
see.
you and I know that's not going to happen
I
anytime
don't. I
soon.
don't see it. I don't see it. Period.
Or
I'm
maybe
fully.
Soto's that kind of person just doesn't want to. The problem is, isn't his agent Boris?
Yeah. So there's no chance there's going to
There's
be a
no
hometown
chance.
discount.
I mean, I'll
No
put it
way.
this way: I, I like people making their money, but I don't like Scott Boris. Scott Boris, in my opinion, has kind of ruined baseball to a point. It's just that it's a double-edged sword when I talk about Scott Boris, because I appreciate the players getting as much as they can, but at the same time, he kind of handcuffs the team so that they can't do anything else.
See me.
And
I'm
for
100%.
superstars like,
I'm a player's guy 100%. That's why I love a guy like Scott Boras. Get these guys their money.
yeah, because he also takes a 10% probably percentage from that money.
You know, those deals are so big, he probably takes 1%.
Probably, but
Because the
still
deals are
one
so big.
percent. One
Yep.
percent of 5 players is crazy, though. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
I mean,
he's not hurting for money. Never will
nah,
be.
nah. You know what I see in the future for him? He's going to own a baseball team in the future. I can just foresee it.
He might not want to do all that work. I mean, his job is pretty easy.
Uh, yeah.
Here's an offer,
Let's
more. Here's an
more.
offer, more.
more.
That's an easy job.
But
Double it.
that's why he's the best agent in baseball. I mean,
Yep.
that's why he's the best agent in baseball.
Yes, indeed. So
Yeah.
we can go ahead and get right on into our brackets. We can take a
Yeah.
quick break before we do that. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, maybe like 2 seconds. We'll be right back. We are back from the break, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. You won't be able to hear this if you're listening. I mean, see this if you're listening on Spotify, but I'll tell you what's going on. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to just look at a bracket and run down a few games that stand out at us. We don't have enough time here to go through and pick all. It's what six games in the first round, and then no, it'll be 30-something games in the first round, and then on and so forth.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that, but we'll go ahead and the big games we'll touch on, a couple of upsets, and then finalize who we think is going to win it all, give our final four and then final two. I guess we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then go from there. So in this first round here, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
So in this top bracket here on the West, we've got the Gonzaga. That should be an obvious win for Gonzaga. I mean, no upset chances there.
Mm-mm.
Boise, Memphis.
I'm gonna take. I took Boise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Memphis. You took Memphis. Wow. Okay. Because I took Boise only because their defense and their offensive prowess. Memphis kind of scattered all over the place when I saw them play in their thing. So that's why I leaned towards Boise a little bit.
The only reason I picked Memphis is because, wow, Kyrie Irving has 60 points. Good grief. They're playing right now.
In what?
They're playing. The Nets are playing right now. Kyrie has 60.
Already? What's the quarter?
Let's see. This is breaking news here. Breaking news whenever it feels like breaking. Well, they're playing the Magic, and they're blowing them out. It's the fourth quarter, 131-94. He has 60 points. So, but I picked Memphis just because I'm rooting for Penny. That's the only reason. The next game on that list, UConn and New Mexico State, is one that I think could be an upside. I just have a feeling about that. I didn't pick it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
So I picked New Mexico State in the beginning. Then I thought about Connecticut. When I read their bio, and I was like, Connecticut got a pretty solid team this year. So I picked them over that. But my upset pick is the next one. The Vermont and Arkansas. I picked Vermont.
I picked that too. So we're on the same page on that. We both got Vermont getting that one. The next one we can skip that. We can go down to Davidson, Michigan State. Who do you like in that one? I know David likes Davidson.
So
David always picks Davidson.
So the thing is, Davidson does have a shot to beating Michigan State, but the problem is they don't have the size to beat Michigan State. Like Michigan State's just huge, and they're battle tested, and they're coming into the tournament. Like even though they lost in the Big Ten, they're pretty stacked. So that's why I chose Michigan State. They're pretty. It'll be a very close game, because if Davidson can get, they don't have the 3-point shooting team like they used to, but it'll be close. It'll be close in my opinion.
And I picked Michigan State there just because of Izzo. He's just such a great coach.
Yes.
And this is his time of year. Even with bad teams, he always finds a way. And I would not be shocked if they made it to the Final Four just because of him. He's such a good coach.
Yeah.
Duke, we don't have to talk about that game. That's easy.
Nah.
Next to the other side of the bracket there, a game that stands out to me there is UAB and Houston. I can see UAB taking that, but Houston is solid though.
Yeah, Houston has one of the best defensive teams in the nation, but unfortunately, their free throw sucks. They have a horrible free throw percentage. So I took Houston only because of their defense. Only because of their defense, because they can score. It's just if you foul them, then yeah, that's going to be an issue.
Next game on that side, Michigan, Colorado State. Juwan Howard returns.
See, I was like, in one thing, I had Colorado State beating Michigan because Colorado State, they play a little bit differently. I mean, they have all the necessary tools to beat Michigan, but I was like, it's the first game. I'm a homer, so I picked Michigan over Colorado State.
Yeah, and I got Michigan there. I'm rooting for Juwan after his little blow up. I want to see them go as far as they can. The biggest game for me, this opening salvo here is Longwood in Tennessee.
Really?
Friend of mine went to Longwood, so and they're the underdogs. Like they're like Mason back in those days. Nobody expected them first of all to make it. So the fact that they're there, I would love to see them pull off this upset. The problem is Tennessee they're the best defensive team in the nation, so that's going to be very tough for them. But Longwood's well coached, so they can get this game.
I have to disagree, unfortunately, because Tennessee is just that good. Defensively, they're going to smother Longwood. I mean, offensively, they're gonna shoot the lights out against them. Even though Longwood is there because the thing is they're there for the first time, so you don't know what their jitters are going to be. And if Tennessee puts the press on them, you don't know how many turnovers they're going to get because they probably want to knock these guys out, like within the first 10 minutes of the game. But I picked Loyola Chicago over Ohio State.
Yeah, that's the next one I was going to get to because that has upset potential, legitimate upset potential. Ohio State's always good in basketball; they're always solid. But Loyola is always solid too. So this one wouldn't surprise me. If I'm picking it, though, I'm picking Ohio State. So
you pick Ohio State, okay, okay.
Next on the list, down at the bottom half of the bracket, Baylor. That's easy. North Carolina, Marquette. That's a tough game, but I would pick North Carolina there.
Yeah, I did the same.
Yeah, so we can move on to
Texas and
UCLA
and Akron.
Oh yeah, that too.
I picked Akron actually to beat UCLA.
Oh yeah,
I think one of my upsets.
And then I don't even know who to pick in that one. I guess if I'm picking it, I'll stick with Chop on that one. I pick UCLA. The next biggest game for the weekend for me is Texas and Virginia Tech. I'm of course going with the Hokies on this. They're hot. First of all, they won the ACC. I think they're on a roll and they're going to keep it going.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Shaka Smart coaches Texas, right? So they were saying his assistant coach, I think, who was leaving to coach somewhere else, was the brains of the operation when I think when he was with the when he was with the Rams. I'm not sure on that, but I think Shaka Smart's reign in Texas is going to be over because they're going to lose to Virginia Tech, and he's going to get let go because there's been a lot of rumblings in Texas that they haven't advanced further than they need to be. So if he doesn't make noise, I think he's out.
That's a bold prediction. I'm going to hold you to that. Next side of the bracket, we don't have to talk about the rest of those. Those are easy. Next side, we've got the next close game. Which one?
Iowa State and LSU. They and also the South Dakota and Providence. Those two games I think are going to be kind of close.
Yeah, and Creighton and San Diego State too. San Diego State's basketball program is usually good. Creighton though is always up there too. That's a tough pick. If I have to pick it, I'll go with San Diego State.
I think I went with Creighton on that one. I think Creighton can pull it off.
I think
I put Creighton, but
Iowa's good. I picked Richmond over Iowa.
Oh, that may be that's gonna hurt, bro, because Iowa's really strong. But Richmond, they can run, so that may give them some problems.
Yeah, and then like you said, LSU and Iowa State. I went with Iowa State because Will Wade just got fired. I don't care for them, so screw them.
Iowa State. They say Iowa State is going to be a very dangerous team because they can shoot, they can rebound, they can defend, and they're seated a lot lower than they should be, but they have a very solid team, and any higher seed should be aware of Iowa State. I think I have Iowa State going all the way to at least to the Final Four.
Wow. Yeah. Next up, Larinaga taking on USC. I picked Larinaga. I'm rooting for him always. He always have a place in my heart because of Mason. So
Yep. I think I picked USC because I like Larinaga, but I think the USC team is a little bit better than Miami, and they may pull it off in the end. But I may change it when Wednesday comes because that always happens with me. So
so we can go ahead and wrap things up with our Final Four predictions. Who do you have in your Final Four?
let me see here. I have. Let me go to my trusty. Off the top of my head, and pending these are all just like my kind of
And I've got my bracket up here, so don't cheat.
okay. My final four is Gonzaga, Baylor,
Yep.
Arizona, and Iowa State.
And I've got Gonzaga, Baylor, Villanova, and Auburn.
See,
And championship game.
mhm, I have Baylor and Arizona.
Mm-hmm. And
So
champion,
I have Baylor.
samesies.
Yeah. So I may switch to Villanova only because they have the best free throw shooting team in the nation. They have the
Oh
best
wow,
free throw percentage in the
that's a good
nation.
stat.
Yeah, best free throw shooting percentage in the nation. So that alone is can get you points like out of nowhere
Yeah,
because if you are going up against a team that fouls a lot and you get on there, that's like easy 2 points. Easy 2 points.
yeah, and so everybody can cheat. This is my bracket here. Feel free to copy it. I don't know much about college basketball this year, which means I'm gonna win. So these are the winning picks here. So mark that down and yeah, burn that into your memory banks.
Yeah, and I'm going to do my Yahoo finalization tomorrow. So we'll try to whoever voted for Dale. I mean, come on, man. At least give me something.
It's always the safe pick, always a smart pick to pick me, and I rarely let you down. But when Raina gets home here, I'm gonna have her do a bracket too. Girls always
Mhm.
do well in brackets, so I'll
Yes.
have her pick one, go through hers, and I'm sure she'll win too. So we're gonna have two winners in the house. Um, that's all I've got for the college basketball.
Yeah, me too, man. Oh, I'm gonna be at Hooters in Chantilly on Thursday for the
Nice.
first time in a long. I think this is the first time ever that I've actually can take off Thursday and Friday because it was a heck of a week for me, and I'm gonna be there on Thursday and probably on Friday too. So
That's
if
lovely.
you, yes, so if Dale was here, definitely would have called him to be like, "Hey, come and enjoy the festivities."
I'm sure it's gonna be packed.
Oh, I'm getting there early.
Yeah,
I'm getting there at 11:30.
yeah. See, the good thing about work from home, I'll be sitting right out there watching the games.
Yeah,
My boss doesn't listen, so if you ever do check out the show, that's what I was doing.
I'm debating if I should wear my hat and go in and just kind
Wear
of
your hat. Wear your hat. Promote
I
the
think
show.
I think I'm just going to promote the show. I'm just going to wear the hat and go and people who come up and it can be a talking point for the individuals that want to meet us and greet us and we're growing on Twitter, but what we need you guys to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can grow
We need
and
active followers. Like,
yes,
subscribe, spread the word. Word of mouth
yes,
is how this thing is going to grow. Like I
hmm,
said in the beginning, we're going to keep doing it whether people are listening or not. But
right,
if we get more listeners, maybe we'll give more content, do more shows throughout the week. I'd
hmm,
love to. If people are actually listening, I'll do a show every night.
yeah,
I don't care. We're highly
yeah,
entertaining. So if you want more of us, just give us the love. We'll give you the love. And if anybody wants to reach out and wants us to shout out or support anything you're doing,
yeah.
happy to do it. Hit us
And how
up.
can you not like these two faces?
It's easy for me. I don't understand how we don't have more listeners. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just because people don't know about us yet. Once
that's
we're out
true.
there, though, it's just going to grow
Mhm.
like wildfire.
And and it will because we're on Spotify now. We're on Apple Play. We're
Apple
on every
Podcasts, yep,
devices and
everywhere.
podcast. So hopefully, 2022 we'll make some splashes. But everything
Even
as
if we
Dale
don't,
says,
we'll be here.
yep, we'll still be here and we're still going to keep on doing this. And I was thinking maybe we should start collaborating with some of these YouTube guys. Maybe
Such as who?
like there's this guy named Sway21 who talks about the Commanders and like he has like people
I'll
like
have
watch.
anybody on. So
Okay.
if there are some names you want to throw out here right now, I'll tag them when I post the episode and tell them to jump on with us sometime.
Yeah.
Even Tolu can jump on sometimes. Tolu, I've been talking to Tolu on Twitter back when I used to be active on it, talking sports with him. So I know he's a seam head like me. He talks baseball. He travels all over the country going to games and stuff. So just fans. That's all we are as fans who
Hmm.
just made a show here. So get on and interact with us. We can talk sports. We can talk anything. I don't even.
Hmm.
Just
We
you want to
we're
jump on? let us know. Hit us up.
Yeah, we're more than welcome to entertain. We'll have differences, and that's what's all about. But yeah,
I'll shout out Adam Epstein here so I can tag him. I'll shout out Aaron the Commandalorian here. I'll shout out the other Commandalorian's Twitter. Tolu, I'll shout you out so I can tag you. The other guy you were talking about, I know who you're talking about. Let me find his at right here so I can shout him out too. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, because
one second.
And also, there's another guy that I mean, he's cool too.
This guy here. I don't think this is who you were talking about. Cruz Kush one. He was liking our stuff today, so I'll give him a shout out. I'll tag you in this episode too. Anybody who wants to jump in with us, please. Everybody's welcome. If I don't like what you say, I'll just edit it out. But no, no, come on with us. It's fun. It'll be a good time to have some more interaction. So we can
and just to
link you right into the Zoom.
And it's just a back and forth we just wanted to see what you guys our opinions are, because we know we have ours and we have reservations, and and it's kind of, it'd be fun to see what you guys think that certain sports teams or certain sports analytics can happen. So hey, just join and talk to us, and we're open for you guys.
Yep. We are here. We'll be here.
We'll be here always.
Talking Hats, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show for this Tuesday night. Thank you for joining us. Again, this is a special edition. We'll be back at our regularly scheduled time on Saturday morning. And again, if you want to jump in with us, I'm going to throw the tag out there. We look forward to it. Thank you so much, and spread the word. Talking Hats.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.